Once again, the Baha'i greeting of Allahu Akbar to all the people of the earth. We will be continuing the discussions on answering some of the writings and some of the issues philosophically by scientific method, or at least with whatever science has discovered so far, trying to stay in the principle of the Baha'i Faith that it says religion has to be according to science and logic. The word I believe is not enough because it is personal. It might be good for a person, but it has to become universal. Therefore, we have to use a language that can be understood by everyone. And today it seems to be the science and logic. In our centuries, it works well. In that context, I think I have set a new philosophy. Let's call it originalism, that I try to discover and find out, is there an origin for time, for matter, and for life? What is the origin of life? Or when is it? What was it? So as the origin of time and matter. Let's go to the origin of matter. Discussed this previously a bit. Is there a beginning for the matter? Mankind seemed like an orphan, like a salmon fish, wants to go back always to find out where he comes from. What was the beginning of everything? It seems it's an instinctive desire. We just have to go back forward to find out who we are, what was the world. In every department, people, set a goal. In the physics of the quantum mechanics, the physicists, one of the things they try to do is to find out what the origin of the matter is. In that context, I better read one of the writings of Baha'u'llah, which essentially tells us there is no beginning. We are not capable of finding the beginning of a matter, to find out what is the simplest element in the world. And that comes from a Persian book. I have not seen it to be translated in English, unfortunately, but that may be my fault that I don't know, but I do not think this is translated. So I did kind of a translation that renders the purport, but it could be, changed if somebody feels that this is not a fit translation. It's in a book called Ma'edeh Asmani, the book 7, volume 7, page 88, and that is how it reads. Baha'u'llah reveals, whoever opens the eye to his heart shall testify that in every atom there is a sun, and in that sun there is another sun. Then in this sun within the sun there is another sun, inasmuch as there is no end to it. So, we basically, according to that writing, I came to the model that I explained previously. It's in every time we open something, there's another thing in it. Like those Russian dolls. You open one, there's another one. Open one, and there's another one in that one. And goes on and on and on forever. Like Mandelbrot fractal images. It seems to be infinite. So much so that it seems it's like a tunnel. There's no point that we can say, okay, this is it. If we go on, then there is another one, another one. This goes on and on and on. Because simply we are composed. We're not one being. We're not pure. in that sense, materially, essentially. We are in time and motion, therefore we must be at least made out of two things, which essentially is matter and spirit. So for us, our understanding, which I explained before, is like a color of blue and yellow that they make green, not that they vanish to make the green. No, they're just coinciding with each other, and we see green through the blue and yellow. That is the world of existence where we are, and in that green we cannot find the pure, which would be blue or yellow. Shoghi Effendi, the last author of the Faith of Baha'u'llah, says the same thing. It is impossible to find the essence of the matter. The scientists, he says, it's impossible for them to know what the material, what's the beginning of the material world. So this is, I explained before, again I say that it seems every beginning it has an end. Let's say if this planet Earth began at one point, and at one point then it evaporates, vanishes, so there's a beginning and end for it, at which point the matter, since it's not going to be destroyed completely, it will turn into something else. We don't know what that is, but it starts a new cycle, just like a spring coil. You go one round and then you start the second circle, the second coil, and then it continues, and not in the form of a tube, because this tube comes to end again, a beginning meets an end. Now again we have a circle made out of these tubes, and that circle itself is the beginning of coiling again to create another. So it becomes basically circle and tubes, beginning and ends. When they are connecting with each other, they create circle, and the circles, they create another circle by tubing itself. Therefore, in this matter, we do not know what the beginning of the material world is. What is the beginning of matter? But I did a little bit of investigation in the Department of Science. In one book I was reading that it says in the beginning of the universe some 15 billion years ago, the entire universe, imagine how big is this universe, that close to 12,000 light years is just the length of the Milky Way. There's billions of galaxies yet. It says in the beginning of the universe in this book, the entire universe was not as small as an atom, not as smaller as in the nucleus of an atom, but 1 to the power of minus 26 zero is smaller than the nucleus of atom. Imagine you have to break the nucleus of atom billion times into billion times, and add little things. Who knows what would that be? It's unimaginable, its size. They say that was the volume of the universe. That is small it was in the beginning. So right now, I explained that before, that essentially they found out, okay, the atom was broke down into the particles, and the particles broke down into quarks, and there's 36 quarks, and there's no end. At this point there's 36, and there's no end to it. So we are not scientifically capable of finding the pure, which needs to be the original, the origin of the matter. It is impossible, because we're always a composition, and that's a pure things. It is not possible to do that. And that is one of the prime directive of the universe, that a creature which would be in time and motion, always there's two of them. These two will never understand the one, where it comes from. It can speculate. Everything ends to the speculation. And that is the case actually with the black hole. That when the sun, some Indian fellow, I think Chandrasekhar was named, he just imagined that if the sun has a bigger volume than this, a bit bigger than this, I think, then if it collapses, which means the hydrogen inside turns into helium and it runs out of fuel, it will collapse infinitely. And that was the beginning of the black hole. We call that singular quantum